All right, so you're thinking about getting a dog, but you're living that apartment life and wondering, can I really give a dog a good life in a smaller space? We get it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why we're diving into this podcast about the best dog breeds for apartment living and pulling out the gems just for you.
It's like a cheat sheet for finding your perfect furry roommate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this podcast we're diving into is super casual,
Right.
like a chat with friends who really know their stuff about dogs.
Okay, cool.
So let's jump right in.
Sounds good.
They start off talking about Shih Tzus pugs and French bulldogs.
Yeah.
Now, I've met a few of these guys, and they're all kinds of adorable.
Right.
But is there something else they have in common that makes them good for apartments?
Yeah, they're all on the lower end of the energy spectrum.
Okay.
I think leisurely strolls around the block, not marathon runs in the park.
Ah, so more Netflix and chill than fetch till I drop.
Exactly.
Got it.
But don't let that fool you. They still need their daily dose of playtime and walks.
Right.
It's all about finding that balance between their needs and your lifestyle.
Right, because even a couch potato pup needs to stretch their legs and sniff some fire hydrants.
Of course.
Speaking of smaller breeds, they mention Yorkshire Terriers. Now, I know these little guys are bursting with personality.
Yeah.
But would they actually be happy in a smaller space, like a studio apartment?
Yorkies happy in a studio? Absolutely.
Okay.
But there's a catch.
What's that?
These little dynamos need tons of mental stimulation.
Oh, really?
We're talking puzzle toys,
Okay.
indoor agility courses, even teaching them tricks.
Oh, I can see it now.
Yeah,
A tiny agility course winding through the living room.
exactly.
But what about those times when you just can't entertain them?
Yeah.
I've heard that some Yorkies can get a bit vocal.
Yes, the barking factor.
Yeah.
And it's not just Yorkies.
Okay.
This podcast specifically mentions Chihuahuas and Lhasa Apsos as being prone to barking. They may be small in size, but they can definitely make their presence known.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Small dog, big personality. Got to make themselves heard somehow, right?
Right.
But seriously, what if you're in a building with thin walls?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be that neighbor.
Yeah, that's a valid concern and something the podcast addressed.
Okay.
Positive reinforcement training is crucial.
Okay.
It's not about stopping the barking altogether,
Right.
but teaching them when it's appropriate and when it's time to chill.
Like barking at the mailman. Okay.
Right.
Barking at the neighbor's cat through the wall. Not okay.
You got it.
Okay.
Remember, a well-trained dog is a happy dog, and a considerate neighbor is a happy neighbor.
Yeah.
So everyone wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered some of the smaller, maybe slightly louder breeds. But what about some of the other options out there?
Sure.
This podcast also mentioned Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, toy poodles, dachshunds, and Maltese.
Right.
What makes them good candidates for apartment living?
Well, the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel is known for being super adaptable and laid back.
Okay, cool.
Toy poodles are smart as a whip, easy to train,
Yeah.
and bonus points, they're hypoallergenic.
Hypoallergenic. Now, that's a good selling point for anyone with allergies.
For sure.
What about the others?
Maltese dogs are another good choice, relatively calm and low shedding.
Okay.
Perfect for keeping your apartment fur-free.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. Low maintenance, apartment friendly pups.
Exactly.
But what about dachshunds?
Yeah.
Aren't they a bit more energetic?
You're right, those little legs might fool you.
Yeah.
Dachshunds are actually pretty lively.
Oh,
But here's the thing.
yeah.
Even high-energy dogs can adapt to apartment life.
Hmm.
They might need a little more creativity with their exercise,
Right.
but with enough toys and mental stimulation, they can thrive in a smaller space.
So even a dog who loves to run can be happy in an apartment.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's about understanding their needs and finding ways to meet them within your environment.
So it's not just about the breed, it's about the individual dog.
Right? You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Every dog, even within the same breed, is an individual.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So far, we've been focusing on specific breeds. But I'm curious, did the podcast have any general advice for people choosing a dog for apartment living?
Actually, they did.
Okay, what's that?
Their big takeaway was this. Regardless of breed, the most important thing is to give your dog the love, attention, and care they need to thrive.
That sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But it's so important to remember, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not just about fitting a dog into your space.
Right.
It's about welcoming them into your life.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
And that means being realistic about your lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you're constantly on the go,
Yeah.
a high-energy dog might not be the best fit, even if they're the perfect breed for apartment living.
So it's all about finding that perfect match between you and your future furry friend.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that might mean thinking outside the breed box altogether.
Oh, okay.
This podcast focused on specific breeds, but mixed breeds can be fantastic options too.
Yeah.
You never know. You might find the most amazing dog at your local shelter.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that breed is just one piece of the puzzle.
It is.
So what other pieces should we be considering?
Think about the whole dog.
Okay.
Their personality, energy levels, and their unique needs.
Okay, so we've talked about breeds, personalities, energy levels.
Yeah.
It's starting to feel like a lot to keep in mind.
I know, Rob.
Well, what's the bottom line?
Okay.
What's the most important takeaway for our listeners who are dreaming of puppy cuddles on the couch?
First, do your research.
Okay.
We've given you a great starting point, but there's always more to learn about each breed.
Right.
Second, be honest with yourself about your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Can you really provide the exercise, training, and attention a particular breed needs?
Okay.
And finally, remember that every dog is unique.
Right.
Take the time to meet different dogs. Spend time with them and see who steals your heart.
So it's about making a thoughtful decision.
Yeah.
It's about finding that special connection.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of getting a dog.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But taking the time to make the right choice will lead to a much happier life for both you and your new furry companion.
Okay. I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on.
For sure.
Any final nuggets of wisdom before we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Choosing the right dog for your apartment and your lifestyle is an act of love.
Okay.
It sets the stage for a happy and fulfilling relationship for both of you.
That's beautifully said.
Thanks.
Do your research, be honest about your needs, and most importantly, open your heart to the incredible bond you can have with a dog.
Well said.
Now go forth and find your perfect apartment pup.
Happy dog hunting, everyone.
But before you run off to the shelter, let's take a quick pause. We'll be right back with part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll unpack even more tips and insights from the podcast.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
Me too. I'm already feeling more confident about navigating the world of apartment-friendly dog breeds.
That's great.
But I have to admit, I'm still a little worried about that whole barking situation. You know, keeping the peace with the neighbors and all.
Yeah, it's definitely a top concern for apartment dwellers.
Right.
And it's something the podcast addressed in a really interesting way.
Oh, so?
They talked about how even small dogs who aren't known for barking can become noisy if they're bored or anxious.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's like they're trying to tell us something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So part of managing barking is making sure your dog has enough mental and physical stimulation.
Okay.
Tired dogs are usually quieter dogs.
Okay, so it's not just about training them to be quiet.
Right.
It's about addressing the root of the problem.
Exactly.
Did they offer any specific tips for keeping a dog entertained in a small space?
They sure did.
Okay, like what?
They talked about puzzle toys, interactive feeders, and even indoor games like hide and seek.
Really?
Apparently, hiding treats around the apartment can keep a dog busy for a while.
Hide and seek for dogs. That's adorable.
It is.
I'm picturing my future pup sniffing out treats under the couch cushions.
It's a great way to engage their natural scavenging instincts.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a lot less disruptive than a barking frenzy.
Okay, so we've covered barking and entertainment.
Yeah.
What else did the podcast touch on that you think is important for our listeners to know?
Well, they talked about a few breed-specific health concerns that are especially relevant to apartment living.
Okay, like what?
For example, they mentioned that brachycephalic breeds,
Brachycephalic breeds.
like pugs and French bulldogs, can have breathing problems, especially in hot weather.
Oh, right. I've heard that those flat faces can make it harder for them to breathe.
Exactly.
Well, even if you have a small apartment, making sure it's well ventilated is super important, right?
Absolutely. And the podcast mentioned that dachshunds with their long backs are prone to back problems.
Oh, really?
So it's a good idea to avoid letting them jump on and off furniture or climb stairs too often.
So even though we're talking about apartment living, which might not involve a lot of stairs,
Right.
it's still something to keep in mind.
Exactly. And it reinforces the idea that breed is just one factor to consider. It's important to research any potential health concerns and think about how those might be impacted by your living situation.
So we've got the barking, the entertainment, the health stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else we should touch on before we move on to the grand finale?
They had a really interesting point about socialization.
Okay.
Even if you have a small, low-energy dog, it's still crucial to socialize them properly.
I can see how that might be easy to overlook if you're thinking, oh, it's just a little apartment dog. It doesn't need to go to the park every day.
Exactly. But even short walks around the neighborhood can provide valuable exposure to sights, sounds, and other dogs.
So it's not just about exercise. It's about helping them become well-adjusted members of the canine community.
Well put. It's about helping them feel comfortable and confident in different environments.
Yeah.
And that can make a huge difference in their overall happiness and well-being.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From choosing the right breed to managing barking, keeping them entertained, and thinking about their health and social needs.
It's a lot.
It seems like there's a lot more to consider than just picking a cute pup from a picture, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Choosing a dog is a big decision, and it's one that should be made with careful consideration.
Okay, so before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll reveal the ultimate secret to finding the perfect apartment dog, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far.
Great idea. We've talked about a variety of breeds that are well suited to apartment living.
Yeah.
From the low-energy Shih Tzu to the energetic Dachshund. We've discussed the importance of managing barking, providing mental and physical stimulation, and considering breed-specific health concerns.
And we've emphasized the fact that every dog is an individual regardless of breed, and that finding the perfect match is all about understanding their unique personality and needs.
Right. It's not just about fitting a dog into your space. It's about welcoming them into your life and making sure they thrive in your environment.
Okay, so are you ready to hear the big reveal?
I am.
The secret sauce to finding your perfect apartment pup?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right, let's dive into the final part of our deep dive. All right, so we've talked about breeds, energy levels, barking health. It's a lot to process.
It is.
But the podcast hosts had one final piece of advice.
Okay.
And it's a good one. Are you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
They said, and I'm quoting here, the best way to find the perfect apartment dog is to consider your own energy levels.
Now, that's interesting. It's not just about the dog's energy.
You're right.
But yours, too.
Exactly. They pointed out that if you're a high-energy person who loves to hike and run,
yeah,
a laid-back lap dog might not be the best fit, even if they're perfectly content in an apartment.
So a super chill dog might actually drive a high-energy person a little crazy.
Precisely. And on the flip side, if you're more of a homebody who enjoys quiet evenings on the couch, a super energetic dog might be a bit overwhelming.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Right.
A dog whose energy level complements your own. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. And it goes beyond just physical activity.
Okay.
They talked about how even things like play style and training can be influenced by energy levels.
Give me an example.
Well, they said that a high-energy person might prefer a dog who enjoys playing fetch or going on adventures, while a lower-energy person might be happier with a dog who's content with a cuddle on the couch and a gentle game of tug-of-war.
I can see how that would make a big difference in the day-to-day dynamic.
Absolutely. And when it comes to training, a high-energy person might have the patience for a more demanding breed that needs a lot of mental stimulation, while a lower-energy person might find that a bit too much to handle.
So before you even start browsing dog breeds, you need to take a good look at your own lifestyle and personality.
Exactly. It's all about self-awareness. What kind of energy do you bring to the table? What kind of energy are you looking for in a furry companion?
You know, I've never thought about it that way before, but it's such a crucial piece of the puzzle. It's like finding a roommate.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're compatible on a fundamental level.
That's a perfect analogy. And it brings us back to the idea that choosing the right dog is an act of love.
It is.
It's about finding a companion who will enrich your life and whose needs you can genuinely meet.
It's about creating a harmonious home where both you and your dog can thrive.
Well said. So, to our listeners out there who are daydreaming about puppy cuddles and walks in the park, remember, it's not just about finding a dog who fits into your apartment. It's about finding a dog who fits into your life.
Take the time to do your research. Be honest with yourself about your lifestyle and energy levels, and most importantly, listen to your heart.
Because the perfect apartment dog is out there waiting for you. And when you find them, you'll know it.
Happy dog hunting, everyone.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of apartment-friendly dog breeds. We hope you've learned some valuable insights and feel empowered to find the perfect furry companion for your apartment life.
Remember, adopting a dog is a big responsibility, but it's also one of the most rewarding experiences life has to offer.
So go forth, do your research, and open your heart to the unconditional love of a dog.
Until next time.
Happy tales.